accommodation where the bank duties go on, but the bank manager also had accommodation as well. So therefore you've got private and commercial in the same structure, and it's therefore reflected in many ways also, both in security. You must remember a bank still had liquid assets in those days. This is the only bank, by the way, in High Street, well at least in Fremantle, where the foundations are not visible, unlike the bank across the road there. Now they've given it a ghastly coat of grey, which is terrible. But all the other ex-banks going down High Street, they have the big dolerite blocks, which are as solid as, and it's a symbol. You can't dig through this at any stage. And those foundations go down something like 2 metres in fact, okay? This one here doesn't. I think it's got something to do with the fact that it's the first bank of substantial size to be built in Fremantle, whereas the other banks came later, of course. Does it make sense? Foundations have to be shown to be solid because it's a bank. Not like the pub across the road, which was a different function altogether, okay? This is the commercial entry point into the bank. Sorry, the public entry. This is where the bank manager went. Commercial entry was always on the corner there, okay? Which is blocked off now, but it still has the symbol of the Union Bank in monogram, okay? Let's just go. Private area, you have a little lounge there, and of course you've again got the staircase which takes you further up, which is actually quite steep. Let's get everybody in on this. It's not built to take a lot of people at once, okay? In other words, it's associated with the public domain. 1 or 2 people might go up and down it in a day, you know? If it was for private or for the commercial use, they're usually far wider, okay? And you notice the width of these staircases across the road were also an indication of different types of functions, okay? This one here is personal, down to a private type of domain. This building has changed greatly. Like I said to you, it's actually the Union Bank, originally built as that. It was the Union Bank until about 1930, I think, and then it became Sailors' Rest. There are a number of Sailors' Rests in Fremantle, as one would expect in a port. Accommodation, in this case here, in fact, you don't really see how crooked the cut out of the actual doorway there is. I think the university did that, I think. Sailors' Rest from about 1930 right through till the university took it over, okay? Now, if it's going to be accommodation for sailors, of course, they've just come off a ship. They are used to being in bunks that are tiny, and therefore most of these rooms around here are correspondingly tiny as well, okay? So there wasn't much effort put into giving them much space at all. Further down the road we have Port Lodge, where for modern people like ourselves you can't even get your suitcase and yourself in, and your bed I think is something like only about 6 foot long, because that's all that was needed at the time. So things have changed obviously. I'll just take you through here, even though there's labs going on at the moment. The original bank office is just over here, so just come through here. Easy in those days, okay? There's no systems, credit cards and so forth. So the actual vault itself is where we are here. This is the thickness of that wall there. From here, going back to the next wall there is the original vault. Now, all the banks that you have around in Fremantle, the vault is a bit like our cast iron beam or column across the road. You take that out, the building falls down. So everything's built around that. Okay. So even though it's always in the centre core, usually, in this case here, we've got this area here. The actual doors have been taken off, obviously, as you can see. But in other places, they've actually been preserved as well. And they're virtually, for a university, can't be used because there's no windows, for obvious reasons. You don't want to have windows in a place where you keep all your gold and so forth. Which is usually for storage and things like that. But that's the original front office there where people would come off the seated there and there'd be actual tunnels there and so forth, okay?
我也没电啊，
There was no entry
我也手机没电，
through that door
就
there.
一个头。
In fact, there was no link whatsoever between where the bank duties occurred and the private section. Now that's security more than anything else, okay? You get next door there, that's the reasons why you have the changes in regards to the staircases and so forth, okay? I'll just go out here if I could, please. This is actually ND32, so we've got this earlier than the ND42 across the road, so we've had this for a bit of a while. It's probably our oldest structure, and there's a number of things here that I haven't been able to work out, like that archway there. I was looking at a photograph just recently and there was another doorway around the corner which will go through that gate there to get out. In fact, I should point that out to you. I haven't been able to work that one out either. The good thing about this building here is that sometimes you get good photographs coming down High Street and you can just get the side of it. And when the tram depot across the road is opened in 1905, they take courteous photographs of trams going in and out of the car barn and just accidentally get this building in as well. But I thought I'd just show you also this building here, okay, which is a part of the complex now, but wasn't originally a part of the bank because it's actually a chapel, okay? We have a number of chapels as part of our buildings around Fremantle. In fact, most ports have a lot of chapels. Gee, why do you think that's the case?
A whole bunch of different religions.
Yeah, most of them are actually Christian, though. Yeah, sorry, what were you saying?
Oh, it's the sailors. I was going to say they're superstitious, but that's not very fair. They are. They only celebrate. Well, they celebrate church on board, but that's a hierarchical thing.
Yeah, look, I was going to say that's probably the same thing. Look, I mean, anybody who's any dealings with the sea, even today, will know that they need as much help as possible. Okay, they're usually highly religious. Fremantle, of course, also has a blessing of the fleet, still to this very day. We still lose sailors and so forth. So people, whether you call it superstition or not, you often find chapels here because they're trying to get as much help as possible, even from the Almighty above. Okay.
So this goes with the sailors' rest.
This goes with the sailors' rest. This is 1936. Absolutely terrible mission brown, of course. The original photographs that show this to be built, like I say, in 1937, actually have quite almost tuck pointed, even though it's not tuck pointed. The bricks, as you can see, are laid with ordinary stretcher bond, but they use like a white lime, and the bricks are nice and bright, and the white lime, and it really stands out. Yes.
When did you say it was built?
1937. Yes, that's right. So this is associated when it was a sailor's rest. Okay. This was just, I think, there was a wash house here. There was a well directly under our feet here, which goes roughly around about 6 feet down, whatever that is in metric, about 2 metres. There was a water supply here as well. The water board plans are very, very good for this area. And they're at a scale of 1 inch to 40 feet, and they include things like wells, for example, other drains, bathrooms over the back and so forth. Okay, but that building, the latest water board plan that we have is 1916, and of course this is not there at that time, being 1937.
And it's a good story because it's about the changing uses of the building
Correct.
in different times, and then you've
That's
got the
precisely
additions
right.
and so on. That they might not be as old, but they're
Yeah.
part of that changing function, and
That's right.
and part of the port as a
That's
functioning
right.
place.
I think we have a bad habit of thinking of these buildings as being built in 1888 and that not changing until the university takes it over, but they were being used all the time for different functions and so forth.
Upgraded, updated, added to.
And because they're private buildings, though, we don't have as many historical records associated with them, unlike public, of course.
Yeah.
And of course, you go to the State Records Office, you've got all those PWD plans for everything, but not for something like this. So we've got to use our eyes, as we do, of course, to try to
And our
draw the information.
archaeologists.
Oh, and our archaeologists.
Thank you.
We talk the same way, of course. The the architects are going to be using this building. I think some of them might have even been there playing around at the moment. But this type of thing is actually quite good because it gives you a bit of an idea and more of a context associated with the material that you have. So
That's great.
we'll just go out this door
Yeah,
here.
thank you.
Where would you like to go from now?
Can we go to the medical library?
Medical library, yes, not a problem at all.
Oh, the architect family's using it?
Byzantine. I don't know why they actually selected that, but you find a lot of these types of styles around Greece and so forth associated with the Byzantine period. Okay, let's go.